gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Luv Shak. I'm your host, Big Al's Doctor of Love.
And I'm your co-host, Albert Charles. Good evening, Albert.
How you doing, Charles? And we've got a great guest tonight. We've got none other than Rudy Boy Gonzalez, who's going to be here at our event in August 11th. How you doing, Rudy?
We're doing good, guys. How are y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing great, and we want to thank you for being here. Charles is going to talk to you for a little bit, then I'm going to talk to you about your match. So I'll tell you what, Charles, you want to get her started?
I sure will, Albert.
All righty.
First of all, Rudy, thank you for being on our show tonight. We appreciate you calling.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure.
Well, Rudy, I'm going to start this show off. I'm going to ask you a couple questions that I ask everybody, and then we'll take her from there if that's all right with you.
All right.
All right, Rudy. I've known you for a little bit over a year now, I guess it is, and got a question for you. How long have you been wrestling? How did you get into business, and who trained you?
Well, this is going to be a long story. I'll try to make it as short as possible. I really don't like to leave out a whole lot of detail, though, because it's just the way I got in was just, you know, I guess I can start off with, I was never a wrestling fan when I was a kid. My dad took me to a couple of wrestling shows here in San Antonio. There's a place called the Municipal Auditorium where they had wrestling events. Joe Blanchard and this guy Frank Brown were the promoters, and he took me to a couple of shows, and I just really wasn't interested in it. I saw Walter McDaniel and Red Bastien and Thunderbolt Patterson and let's see who else was a guy named Leo Seitz. There was Island Putski. I just wasn't interested in it. It just didn't appeal to me. I was probably about 10 years old. And then when I got into high school, I played high school football, and I went to junior college, Ranger Junior College. And during my Christmas break, I came back home for a while, and my high school coach said, he asked me what I was going to do during my time off that I was at home. And I really didn't have any plans. I just came home to relax, and spend the holidays with my family. And he said, well, if you want to train somewhere, he goes, I have a friend that's opening a promotion. He's opening up a wrestling school, and all the guys that are in that wrestling promotion are all football players. And and maybe and he said, I'm not trying to get you into pro wrestling. I'm just saying you could relate to these guys, and they could relate to you because you're all football players. So he referred me to a guy named Joe Blanchard here in San Antonio, who was that promoter way back, when I was 10 years old. So now years later, I walk into his office, and this is the way it was then and so different now. I walked into his office, and there was a lady at the front door, at the front desk, and she was like, can I help you? And I said, yeah, my name's Rudy Gonzalez, and I came to see Joe Blanchard. She said, well, Joe's not in right now. Is there anything I can help you with? I said, well, I came here to talk to him about training. And she said, well, we don't do training here. We don't train. This is a professional wrestling promotion and an office. This is professional wrestling. And I said, okay, well, my high school coach, my football coach told me to come by here. So, all right, no problem. I was getting to walk out of the office, and I hear in the back, there's another office behind hers, and I hear, what's your coach's name? And I said, George Pasterchek. And that voice goes, come on back here. So I go back into his office, and Joe's back there, and I don't know how you should call him Joe. Mr. Blanchard's back there, and he's like, how do you know Coach Pasterchek? And I said, I played football for him, and he told me you were opening up a wrestling school here, and he told me to come by and see if I could train with you guys for a couple of weeks till I go back to school. And so Mr. Blanchard said, well, all right, we start training Monday, as a matter of fact, and Larry Lane is going to be our wrestling coach, and you're more than welcome. So that's what I did. I went from 7 to 9, Tuesday through Friday, and I trained there with him. And again, wrestling was the furthest thing from my mind. I was just there. Larry Lane put us through a bunch of conditioning drills and did amateur wrestling. That's what it was amateur wrestling. We had mats on the floor, and the ring was there, but we never touched. We never touched it. We never got in the ring. We did tons of squats. Just wrestling drills, push-ups and takedowns and stuff like that. Just wrestling drills, and it was all just to get us into shape. So I was supposed to go back to school on a Sunday, and the Thursday before, the Wednesday before, the ring guy who also doubled as a referee, and that's something that you don't see nowadays. This guy's in charge of the ring / referee /
right.
That doesn't exist. Guys are, they're not. Messing around the ring is beyond some people nowadays. But anyway,
I know that's the truth.
So this guy Juan Reynoso walks in and he tells Larry, he said, "Which one's Rudy Gonzalez?" And Larry says, "That kid over there." So Juan Reynoso comes up to me and goes, "Mr. Blanchard wants to know if you want to help with the ring tomorrow in Corpus Christi, Texas." I said, "Sure, what do I got to do?" He said, "Just be here at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to ride with me to Corpus, and we're going to split the ring up, and he'll give you a couple bucks for it." I said, "Sure, no problem." So I showed up at 9 o'clock Thursday morning to the office. Juan Reynoso was there. We were stopped at a gas station, and it's funny. I tell everybody the same story. I mean, it's just what happened though. He stops at a gas station and he buys a case of beer, and we drive to Corpus Christi, which is about 120 miles from San Antonio, and he's drinking this beer the whole time, and he finishes the case by the time we get there. And I'm 18 years old. And I was the quote unquote athlete kid. I was, and so we get to Corpus Christi, the Coliseum they had there. He was able to drive into the building. He pulls the truck up right where he needs to park it at, and he stumbles at a truck. He's okay, untie this and untie that, and take this chain off and take that chain off. And he's sitting there, and he's in one of the chairs, and he's drunk, and he's pull that pole off, put it here, put that pole there, slide that rail off, slide that rail here, put that board, slide that board. He instructed me how to put this ring up, and that was my first day, doing anything within the wrestling business was helping, and I was actually putting the ring up for this guy, and but it was no big deal. I didn't mind. I didn't, I never complained about it. I didn't, and I was there to, I agreed to do it, and I did
right.
it.
Well, how many years do you have in the business now, Rudy? Since that
30.
day?
30. That was.
Oh my God, that's
the day I walked into the office. The day I walked into Joe Blanchard's office was January 2nd, 1982, and that's the first time I ever walked into the wrestling office, and so I did that. He asked me after that night if I could help with the ring the next day, so I did. That was Saturday. Then he asked me, or Friday. Then he asked me if I could help with it Saturday and Sunday, and I did all the rest of the weekend. And make a long story short, I never went back to school. Well, as a matter of fact, I showed up at the office Monday morning, and when I walked in, the lady at the front at the desk, her name was Charlotte Carbone. She was a very nice lady. She was like, "What do you want? Weren't you supposed to go back to school or something, Rudy?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mr. Blanchard didn't know." And she was like, "Well, we're getting ready to do TV because Mondays here in San Antonio was TV day."
right.
So she was, and Joe, Mr. Blanchard, I could hear him, "Is that Rudy Gonzalez? Is that Rudy back there?" And she said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Come back here." So I go back to his office, and he's like, "What are you, weren't you supposed to go back to school? What are you doing here?" And I said, "Mr. Blanchard, I took a deep breath because it was a big move that I was making. I had a 2-year scholarship, and I was like, I want to, and I just told him, I just took a deep breath. I just said, I want to learn the wrestling business. I didn't say I wanted to be a wrestler. wrestler. I didn't say I wanted to be a superstar.
Right, you want to learn the biz. That's right.
I wanted to learn, right. Somewhere between Thursday and Sunday, and watching, let's see, who was doing those shows back then? Was Tully Blanchard and Gino Hernandez. Tom Pritchard was a young guy then. He was just breaking in, I believe. Bob Sweetan, Tiger Conway Jr., Dick Slater was here. A guy named Tank Patton was here.
Oh, yeah, all the great.
Yeah, Eddie Mansfield. I mean, just a bunch of guys that, and I never talked to any of them. I just watched them do their matches. And I don't know, something just appealed to me. And, I walked in his office and I like I said, I didn't walk in and say I want to be a wrestler, Mr. Blanchard. I didn't say I want to be a superstar.
No, you want to learn the biz, all of it.
I wanted to know what was going on here, and we're in Corpus Christi and there's 2,000 people screaming, and then we're in Austin, Texas the next day and there's another 2,000 people, and we're in Laredo, Texas the next day, and San Antonio was another, and every place had 1,500, 2,000 fans. What's going on here? So, and I wanted to know what was, I wanted to be part of that. Yeah. So, and then at that point, my experience was just set the ring up. So as far as I was concerned, I was going to be the best ring setter up guy that there would be in the wrestling business. I had no dream of being a wrestler still at that point. Right. And then, so Joe, once I told him that, he kind of like, I'm not going to lie to you, he chewed me out. He said I was giving up a 2-year scholarship. I was giving up an education. I didn't know what I was doing. I was being foolish. He threw the book at me. He told me everything. He said I'd never make no money in this business. I'd be miserable. I'd never have a decent relationship. I'd be on the road all the time. I'll sleep in my car. I'll sleep in, roach-infested hotel rooms. He just painted this nasty picture of the wrestling business. And Charles, to be honest with you, a lot of it he was right.
Oh, yeah. I was getting ready to say what he did was tell you the truth.
Oh, he did, exactly. Joe Blanchard did not tell me, well, Rudy, you made a wise choice. This is going to be the greatest experience you've ever had in your life. He just he told me like it was. And, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of things he says was very true. There's been a lot of good points. There's been a lot of high spots, a lot of good spots in the business that I've been in as well, though. But he was just being upfront with, what I needed to know.
Right.
And
well, let's move right along here. I don't mean to cut you. We got this sort of time left here, but it's a known fact that you've been in business for a long time. And what I was going to say today with these kids, you see it as well as I do. A lot of them are not, like I pretty much spoken like that too. The truth was thrown at me. The toughness was thrown at me. Like I said, I didn't see a ring for a long time, man. Believe it or not, I was on a piece of plywood with a sheet on it for the longest time. Actually, we bumped down in the backyard for a long time. But anyway, leading up to the next part of my story, everybody knows that you were Sean's trainer at Sean's school. And Jose Lothario, is that am I correct in saying that?
yes.
Okay. Now let me ask you, can you give me just a typical day of training with Rudy Boy?
Every day starts with, and I got this from a guy named Ken Timms, the fabulous blonde. Every day starts with warm-ups. Warm-ups consist of squats, push-ups, and crunches. Just warming up, and it's nothing like in Japan where they do thousands of squats, but it is warm-ups. And then we get in the ring and we do some drills, some rolls, and bumps and what have you. Everything we do in the ring, all the drills and stuff that we do it has some kind of meaning, it has some kind of purpose in what you're going to do in a match. Like I've seen guys where I've seen trainers, wrestling schools where they make guys take 25 bumps, in the middle of the ring. And I'm thinking, at what point of a match are you going to sit there and take 25 bumps in a row? To me, it doesn't make sense. So everything we do is based on what you're going to do in a match, and all it does is just, what I learned through the years is repetition improves your work.
That's right. I grabbed the headlock for a long time until we got the fact of that, and then we moved on. Okay, something else I want to ask you. How did you now own the school? Am I right?
Right.
How did you get to work for Sean, and then how did you get to take the school over?
Well, first let me say also, me and Sean were never buddies. I mean, a lot of people think that we grew up together and childhood friends and stuff. We grew up at the same time. As a matter of fact, we grew up probably a few miles from each other, but we never talked. Even when we got into business, Sean went in his direction and I went in mine. Obviously, Sean's direction was a little bit better than mine, but that's fine too. When Sean decided to start a school, he was going to have his back surgery and take that time off when he was going to have that surgery done. He decided to put the school together, and the first people he brought in was Jose Lothario, and because that was the guy that trained him, and a guy named Ken Johnson. And Ken Johnson was the guy who actually, the truth be known, was the guy who actually trained Sean. Jose was the guy that took the money and sat outside the ring and said, okay, show him this, show him that, show him this, show him that. Ken was the actual guy that got in the ring and did all the stuff with Sean and, the hands-on stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, Sean told me, because I asked him why he chose me. For that in blue, Sean said, well, I'm going to get Rudy Gonzalez to be another trainer. And the story I heard was Jose was against it. I'm not sure why, but he was against me being a trainer. Later on down the road, I asked Sean why he chose me. Sean said because he had seen me work. I was a solid hand. I knew what I was doing in the ring, and I was technically sound. And that meant a lot. Coming from Sean. Yeah. In my mind, Sean could have asked Barry Horowitz. He could have asked. There's a list of guys that he's known in his career that he could have brought down to San Antonio to take my spot. But he asked me, and I hold that very close to my heart. It means, and to hear the stuff some of the things that we talked about, meant a lot to me. So when I started training there, I took, this is like the late '90s. Wrestling schools, quote unquote wrestling schools were, old school type of stuff. You get in the ring, beat you up a little bit, take your money, and be gone. So when we put this together, Sean said, we sat down and Sean was like, how are we going to do this? Because he had never, except for, the stuff he did with Jose, he had never been part of a wrestling school. So, I said, well, Sean, it's your school, and with you being the position you have in this business, I think we ought to, treat it as an actual school and teach guys and not beat them up and not push them around and not intimidate them and not, smush their face to the ground. I mean, teach them. And
yeah, that's right. Teach them the way they want to come back.
Yeah, and if they don't, I mean, if you put the truth in front of a guy, if you don't have to beat a guy up to make them realize that this isn't for him. And Sean would have 20 guys in a class, and all we did was warm-ups, drills, and then we get down to the bumps and the nitty-gritty stuff, running the ropes and running the techniques and all that stuff, and guys themselves, we didn't push them, we didn't beat them up, we never laid a hand on a lot of the guys. The guys themselves realized, shoot, this is for me, and they quit. They left the business themselves.
Hard work and discouraged the guy real quick.
Exactly, and a lot of guys that came to the Shaw School were, they watched Raw and SmackDown and whatever else was on TV, and that's what they wanted to see, but they didn't realize the hard work. So something happened where Jose and Ken ended up leaving the school after a couple of months, and at one point Sean asked me, he goes, what do you want to do? And I'm like, you hired me on my own. I'm not a package with those guys. I went to college to be a football coach. So I'm not a football coach, but I'm a wrestling coach now, and that's fine with me. So Sean said, all right, then you're the man. And I took over the school, and when Sean decided, when he redid his contract with WWE, when he was going to go back, he was very upfront with it, and he said, I'm going to close the school down. And, I already signed my deal with Vince, and I'm going to go back to work. I said, all right. He goes, is there anything I can help you with or whatever? I mean, and I was like, part of me said, can you get me a job with WWE? But, I never asked anything from Sean. I was very appreciative of what he gave me, the opportunity that he gave me, because it's opened a lot of doors, and I realized that. I said, no, Sean, fine. Just when are you going to close it? When's the last day? And he said it's going to be, April, whatever it was. He goes, unless you went to school. And I'll take it. It was a ring, and that's really all it was just a wrestling ring. He had some weights and stuff, some really nice weights also that he had there. But and those he gave those to me as well. But then a few months later, Sean wanted to donate them to the church that he was part of, and he said, "Look, I know what I gave you this stuff and whatever, but." And I was like, you know what, Sean? I never paid a dime for this stuff. I never paid a dime for these weights. As far as I'm concerned, they belong to you. You can do whatever you want with them. And so he donated them to the church that he's part of, and it was a good thing. But the way I got to school was, he was going to go back to work for WWE and full time, and I guess through the hard work, I guess, and the loyalty that I gave him, in return, he gave me the wrestling school. And that's just
very kind of him.
That was a big move that he did. It meant a lot to me, and it still does. So, I take the school very seriously. Guys that come to the Texas Wrestling Academy, they're not just getting the backing of Rudy Boy Gonzalez, but they're also getting the backing of Sean himself. I was the guy that he handpicked to run his school, and then that he passed the school on to. So I take that very seriously.
Yeah, I know you do, and I'm going to have to turn over here to Alan, but one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. Saturday night, you guys are coming to Evansville, Indiana, and we're looking forward to having you. And I just want to give you a little warning, man. I'm your bro, and I'm going to be up front with you. You got to watch this guy, Johnny Richards. He got you in a match. He's got some kind of tomfoolery going on. Alan's going to explain that to you, but you're wrestling this kid, Chad Stallings. He's a good wrestler, but I'll tell you what, he's about as sneaky and slithered as any snake you've ever been around. But watch those guys, but I want and Alan's going to explain that to you. But I wanted to ask you about two of your students, which I've had the pleasure of working with three times, and managing them one time. The Texas Tornadoes, Galen and I'm old, Rudy. Help me with the one boy's name,
Jacob Kilgore.
Yeah, good wrestlers, solid wrestlers, and the thing I like about them is very polite and very respectful young men.
Well, like I said, Charles, if you come out of the Texas Wrestling Academy, you have my name stamped on the back of your head, but above my name is Sean's name. So I don't take any guys on the road. I don't push any guys further up the ladder that don't deserve it. And Galan and Jake were two very solid young individuals. They're and away from the ring, they're good young men. I have a lot of respect for them. They follow in the same footsteps as Brian Danielson, as Brian Kendrick, and Lance Cade. I can't say enough good things about them. I can tell you. They've both been around for several years. I have never heard one bad word. And you know how the wrestling business is.
Oh, you'll hear it. Trust me.
I've never heard
telephone, telegraph, telewrestler. It'll get out quick.
I've never heard one bad word spoken about neither guy, and that says a lot about those two guys.
Very respectful young men. Very respectful.
As far as your guy up there up in Evansville Saturday, Charles. 30 years in the business. I've been with the best of the best. I've been with the worst of the worst. So I've learned to keep my eyes and ears open, and if that guy has anything up his sleeve,
well, Rudy, it's just not one guy. You're going to have 7 to 8 to be dealing with, and you got a special referee. Like I said, Al's going to explain that to you. But I tell you what, me and Big Al, this us might be, we'll be lurking in the shadow, so to speak. Right, Albert?
That's right, Charles. That's right.
Well, Rudy, listen, it's been real nice talking to you. I'm going to cut it over here to my buddy Al, and we're looking forward to seeing you Saturday night, my friend, and you guys be safe coming in. And, hey, man, I was going to come out there with my boys when they came out, but I had that heart attack and I didn't get to, but I'm coming out that winter next time. I'm going to go get one of those, might bring Al with me, one of those, what is it, 50-pound pizzas?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, Rudy, here you go. I'm going to turn you over to Big Al. Thank you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Rudy, as you know, you're going up against Chad Stallings on the 11th at Revolution Rules here at the Metro Sports Center. Are you familiar with Chad Stallings?
To be very honest with you, I am not, but I think I might have to do some research sometime between now and then.
Yeah. He's kind of, I don't know, Johnny Richards, which is the head of the Rich Revolution, kind of like a group, and I'm sure he's been talking to Chad, so, you got to watch your back on them, but they're sneaky. But I tell you what, our fans are called the NFW Nation. They're loyal, they're great, and I'm sure that they'll be excited to see you wrestle because I've seen you, and you're a great competitor. So I tell you what, do you have anything you want to tell our fans about your match Saturday night?
I'm just looking forward to coming up to Evansville Saturday with my guys. I've got the Texas Tornadoes and Alex Raines with me.
There you go.
Solid young man also, and whatever goes on. I mean, thanks to you and Charles. I mean, we'll have our, thanks for the heads up. We'll have our eyes open, and
there you go.
And we'll be alert.
Okay. Again, I want to thank you for being here. It's been an honor, and we're looking forward to seeing you Saturday night. So I tell you what, you have a good night, and we want to thank you for being on here again. And we want to wish you the luck. And of course, you're a great competitor, so I'm sure your match is going to be an exciting match. So we'll see you Saturday night, Rudy. Okay?
Yes, sir. You have a good evening.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you,
Good night.
Rudy.
All right, Charles.
Talk to you later, my friend.
You there, Charles?
Yes, sir. What a super nice guy.
Yeah, he is, and he. I tell you what, I'm sure he's going to pretty well be on the lookout for the Revolution, because I'm sure they're going to be around there because Rich. I think Rudy Boy. Like I said, I've seen him. He's a great competitor, and he's tough, and he's big, and.
Well, let me tell you something, Al, and I manage Rudy Boy, and so I can get low down and dirty if need be, and Rudy's right there.
Yeah.
I mean he's more than capable of taking care of himself. But like I said, me and you might just want to be hanging close by if you get my drift.
Oh, we will. Now, tell you what, I'm going to update the card for us, Charles. As we know, August 11th, Revolution Rules at the Metro Sports Center, 5820 Metro Drive, Saturday night, special bell time, 7 p.m., and special price is $5. All seats are $5, bell time 7, it's going to be great. And I just received the updated on the card. As you know, with the Rich Revolution Lumberjack match, Nick Dinsmore will take on Flash Flanagan for the NFW title, which that's going to be a heck of a fight. And we got the dog collar match with Johnny Richards, head of the Rich Revolution, and one half of the NFW Tag Team Champions. We'll take on Nick Giggy, and that's going to be a great match. Nick is tough. He's got Rich's number. He holds a few victories over Rich, so that's going to be great also. And then we got the ladies street fight for the NFW women's title. That's Epiphany's the champion as she takes on Alita Ortiz, one half of the NFW Tag Team Champions also. So, Rich will have his nose out there also. So, that's going to be great. We have a lot of comments on that match. Then again, we got the last standing match also. Victor Bruiser Lewis will take on the champion, Tri-State champion, Bobo Brazil Jr., the last man standing. And then both them guys right there, Charles, I'll tell you what, that's going to be great. Both these guys are tough. They don't give up. They don't know what the word quit means. So, that's going to be an awesome match also.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking real forward to that one. You and I watched that one together last time. That was a pretty darn good match.
Yeah, Vic and Bobo. Oh, man, oh my gosh. Then we got the no count-out match, the six-man tag match. Oh, this is a new one now. Ricky Morton, one half the Rock and Roll Express, is going to team up with SOL as they take on T-Boat, Gator McAllister, and Dyron Flynn. That's going to be great, Charles, a six-man match. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Yes, sir, buddy. I'm gonna tell you something. My phone rang this morning. I guess I'll say this morning it was midday, about 11:30, and it was Ricky on the other end. And we talked for a bit, and he wanted me to be sure and remind all the good people in Evansville, Indiana, that they're early. He's gonna have time to talk to everybody. He's gonna sign your autographs, your pictures. So he wanted urge everybody to get up there early. Meet Ricky. It's been a long time since he's been back in Evansville. He's really
he loves the fans. He's great. The fans love him too.
I'm looking forward to coming back, but he means it. He was telling me today, he said, Charles, he said, years ago, he said, I remember coming into Henderson, Kentucky, drinking me a big red soda, eating me a hamburger, and getting ready to go to that Coliseum. And he said, I'm ready to see all my friends there.
Yeah.
So we urge everybody to come on out that night, $5 ticket. Grab Grandma, grab Uncle Henry, little Johnny Joe, and maybe bring little Jimmy, and get out there and tell your neighbors, come on out now. School started. $5, that's a deal, man.
I know you can't beat it. I mean, it's great. Plus, we got more matches. We got the 4-way tag team match for the No Limits title. Brandon Espinoza and Ace Hawkins versus the Texas Tornadoes versus the Canadian Kid and Kyle Maverick versus Tempest and Johnny Whiplash. I mean, you got 8 guys in there all together at the same time. I mean, that's gonna be wild. That's gonna be a wild match. Then we got the pinfall only Rudy Boy going up against Chad Stallings. I mean, that match is gonna be great. Chad's tough. He's mean, and like I said, I'm sure Rich will be around there somewhere also. Then also we got JP Lightning.
He'll have his big stinky nose and everything.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you what, it's been peaceful tonight. He's not here tonight. He's taking care of some business. So it's been kind of peaceful here tonight. But it's gonna be great. Then we got a mixed tag match. We got JP Lightning and Scarlet Rose going up against Chloe, which is a new trainee, and I heard some good things. They said she's really catching on pretty good. And a mystery partner, I don't know who it is. It's somebody Rich is picking out for. I don't know, but I'm sure Saturday night we'll find out who it is. I'm kind of anxious to see who that is. Then we got the first round match for the Adrenaline title. Shank Berzini versus Alex Reigns. And are you familiar with Alex Reigns, Charles?
I am a little bit. Rudy, I've heard about him. Rudy's told me about him, and Rob Conway's told me a little bit about the young man, but that's about as far as he gets.
Yeah, that's going.
I know that he's an athlete. I do know that.
Yeah.
And I know he's a tough competitor, but to tell you that I have seen him wrestle, I'll be telling you a lie there, Albert.
And we've got one more match: Daniel Eads versus Bishop, and I've known Bishop for a long, long time, so he's tough, and he's pretty mean. He's kind of like up there with. I mean, he don't know what the word quit is either, so that's going to be a great match there too. I'm not familiar with Daniel Eads. So I'm kind of anxious to see what kind of match that is. And also,
who did you say is going to be there?
What's that, sir?
Bishop.
Oh, Bishop. Yeah, he's taking on Daniel Eads.
Who's that?
I'm not familiar with Daniel Eads, so I'm kind of anxious to see what kind of match that's going to be. I have to look up, try to see if I can find anything about him and how he is. Because like I said, I've known Bishop for quite a long time, so I know what he's capable of doing. So.
Yeah,
that's going to be kind of pretty
Lordy,
good.
We're going to have a good night.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have about 30 matches that night.
All these matches here, plus also Iron Man Rob Conway will be there with a special appearance, and he's got something he's wanting to talk to the FW Nation about. So, that right there is going to be great. That's the card, Charles. Like I said, August 11th, NFW presents Revolution Rules. Special bell time, 7 p.m. Special ticket prices, all tickets are $5. 5820 Metro Drive to Metro Sports Center. It's going to be great. Oh, also, Charles, the NFW Nation comment of the week comes from Linda Nelson. You know her, don't you, Charles? She's your buddy.
Yes, sir, buddy. Know her well. And
I talked to her on the phone yesterday.
You out there Saturday night. Keep an eye on that damn Chad Stallings and Rich.
Oh, hey, she's doing good, Charles. I talked to her on the phone last night, and she says she's feeling better. She's doing good. She's lost 13 pounds. She's happy about that. She said the doctor. Oh yeah, she's doing great, and she sounded so cheerful. And it was good talking to her. But she wanted to make a comment, Charles. She told me to tell you. She said, "Tell Charles I love him, and I will see him Saturday night."
Well, I love Linda too. Let me tell you something else. I tell you what, I thank the world of that woman tonight that I finally saw the light.
Oh, yeah.
And she told me that meant the world to her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she
saw the
told
light,
yeah.
and then I turned the commissioner sent back over to you, and she's always been a sweetheart, and I just love her to death.
Yeah, she's an angel, and she'll be there Saturday. She said, ain't nobody going to stop me from my wrestling. And tell Charles I love him. I'll see him Saturday. So I'm glad you're feeling better, Linda, and we'll see you Saturday. And Charles, again, August 11th, 5820 Metro Drive, Metro Sports Center, Revolution Rules. Special ticket price is $5. Special time, 7 p.m. It's going to be great.
You know what?
What's that, sir?
We want to thank Mama Rich for getting them prices right for everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Mama Rich, we love you. She's a doll. She is a sweetheart at NFW. But, she is a sweetheart at NFW. She's great.
NFW Nation.
And she's an angel. We want to thank her for such a great card. We want to thank her for the prices, the time. Charles, what more can I say? Revolution Rules, August 11th, Metro Sports Center, 5820 Metro Drive here at Evansville. $5 tickets, 7 o'clock bell time. Ricky Morton, NFW title, women's title, no limits title. It can't get any better. Tri-state title. You got Rudy Boy coming in. You got Chad Stallings coming in. You got Gator, Dyron. You got the whole. It's an all-star lineup, all-star card. Rob Conway will be there with a special announcement. Charles, I'm about out of breath and I'm about done. So I tell you what. Is there anything you want to say before you spread the love?
Yes, it is, Al. I want to tell you. I know the NFW Nation knows, but we had the passing of your Uncle Gary this past week, and we do send out our condolences to you, Albert. And I know he was a fine man, and I just want to tell you, I'm glad that you're feeling better. I know you got some fond memories of him, and we just want to tell you we love you, Albert, and glad to be your partner, my friend.
I want to thank you, Charles, for your comments and thoughts and prayers. And I want to thank Mama Rich, and I want to thank the NFW Nation for their comments and prayers. Yeah, he's in a better place. It's rough, but life goes on. But we'll always remember him. He's not suffering no more, and I'm sure he'll be watching Saturday night because I'll be there, and I'm going. It's going to be in his honor, and this Luv Shak here is in his memory and honor also. So we love him and we miss him, but I want to thank everybody for all the comments and prayers. Like I said, they made me feel better. It helps. Friends like you, Charles, it makes times like this special because it helps me get through it. So,
well, you're a good man, Albert. Like I said, I'm proud to be a part of Luv Shak. I'm proud to be your partner.
It's an honor, Charles, and I'm proud you're here also. I'm proud to be part of NFW. I love Mama Rich. The fans are great. So I'll tell you what, Charles, enough of the mushy stuff. So I'll tell you what, Charles, you want to spread the love?
Oh, yeah. I just want to tell y'all one thing now. NFW Nation, grab the babies and pack up the old ladies and be there Saturday night. $5, you can't beat it.
That's
but
right.
Just remember this right here. NFW Nation, don't fight amongst yourself. These are fighting to us. All you got to do is spread the love.
Good night, Charles. Good night, NFW Nation. Love you.